Hi, team. I'm Fitz, your fitness expert and very noisy race announcer from Fitzness.com. And welcome to the Fitzness Show. For some reason, we're kind of blurry right now. But tonight, we're having episode 3 of Down and Dirty Conversations with Breast Cancer Survivors. And I think these conversations need to be had. I've said from the beginning, and that's why I wrote this book, because I wanted to share my that are going to talk about not only their breast cancer experience, but how they've managed fitness and running. And I got to tell you, they've done a bang up job. And I think they've actually done a way better job than I was able to do during treatment. So I'm going to hush and I'm going to introduce the survivors. We're going to start with Victoria Miko. Hi, Vicki.
Hi.
Good to see you.
You too.
Angela Pohl.
Hello.
Hello. And Janie John.
Hi, everybody.
So happy to have you guys. And I'm going to warn everybody that apparently my Wi-Fi is still a jerk. I had the man come out and told me that it was fixed, and it's not. So if I disappear, they're going to hold the weight of the conversation. But I'm going to turn the microphone over and ask everybody to tell us a little bit about who you were before breast cancer. So let's start right there. Tell me about you without the breast cancer nonsense involved. Victoria?
Well, actually, even with breast cancer, I didn't change much. I tried to stay the same person. I kept up my running. I was still working full time. I didn't miss any work, even through chemo.
What do you do?
I'm a medical assistant. I work for a county health department in women's health. So, I'm only on the side of we make sure they go get their mammogram, and then if something comes back bad, then they're referred out. But so I didn't really know much about the different types of breast cancer. I thought at the time breast cancer was one type until I was diagnosed and then learned differently.
And then where do you live? Do you have a family?
I do. I live in Michigan. Starting to get a little cold here now. And I have 2 kids of my own. I have a daughter and a son, and I have a stepson, and I have 3 little boy grandsons. They're so cute.
Super exciting.
Yes. And a husband. I have that too.
I was just going to say, it's the greatest husband ever. Our guy, Brent.
Yes.
Brent, you can do anything. And Angela, tell us about you.
Hi, I'm Angela Pohl, and I'm 47. I live in Northeast Ohio with my husband and my son, who is a senior in high school, and he's busy applying to colleges right now. And then I also have, we have a daughter who goes to the University of Miami as well. And let's see, I have a nonprofit that I manage. It's kind of just a small local one, but based around running. And before the pandemic, I used to do a lot of volunteering in the running community locally, and I used to organize some races, and pretty much was at every race locally. And then I've just been an avid runner since 2012, I think, was my first 5K, which happened to be one of those Susan B. Komen 5Ks, like for breast cancer. So that's kind of weird how it's come full circle now.
Wow, weird and wonderful. It all works out, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And Janie John, tell us about you.
So let's see, I'm 59. I was diagnosed with breast cancer at 39.
Wow.
And I was almost 20 years out, and summer of 2020, I got word again that I had cancer again. Back when I was 39, I ran my first marathon, and then 6 months later, I was diagnosed. And it probably took me another 10 years to really get back into running again. But then I was full on big time. And by the time I got diagnosed the second time, I had run 28 marathons, and I thought I was invincible. So much for that. But I ended up having a double mastectomy in August, and I ran the virtual Boston 38 days later on my treadmill because of smoke here in Reno.
Wow.
So anyway,
Wow.
I have 4 dogs, no husband, no kids, and I'm an interior designer, and that's it.
I like that. I like that very much. So we're going to get into your diagnosis stories, but I want to start and say, I'm not sure. I think I kind of know how we met. I'm not sure who reached out for me or how I found you, but basically I met Victoria and Angela online over the past year and a half. I think you were introduced to me because of my book by your friends. Does that make sense? Is that right?
For me, yeah, that was correct. When I first got diagnosed, and I think I shared it with my friends on Facebook, one of my friends, Debbie LaFond, had just read your book, and she mailed it to me. And so I think you also had the TCHP chemo, which I had just found out, like, that's the one I was going to have. And so I was kind of going through it really, really fast, like a manual, just so I could know what to expect, and how to get ready for chemo.
And did it, what's the word? Did your treatment experience mimic mine, or was it very different?
I wouldn't say it was very different, but it was just good to know, like really, what it's like, because you get the list of side effects, but the list is huge, and everybody's experience is different anyway.
Right.
But I guess it was just nice to kind of see that someone has gone through it, and that, okay, it's going to suck, but
that's
right, get through this.
It's gonna suck. And then Victoria, how did we meet?
Well, Angela recommended your book to me.
Okay.
I met her on Instagram just randomly. I don't know if we have any mutual. I don't know. I saw your story on Instagram and saw that you were running and that you had breast cancer, and I was newly diagnosed, and she was just getting ready to start her first chemo, and I was a week behind her on our schedules. So we kind of chatted all through, how things were going with each of us. And then she recommended your book, and I bought your book.
And then we became best friends.
Yes.
On Instagram. Instagram's the best. And then I met Janie. We're part of the same running group called the Boston Buddies. She clearly has run 4 million and 42 marathons. And I was on my first, but the day before Boston, we had a group meeting, shakeout run, and Janie ran up and she goes, "Hey, I'm a survivor too, and I'm a flatty, and I PR'd by 20 minutes after my mastectomy." Was that what you said?
No PR, but
Okay.
I was hoping to run a 3:30 with no boobs.
That's crazy. Yeah. And does, well, we're going to start there. Does the mastectomy make running easier?
Well, if you have to have one,
right, when you volunteer
and you choose to go flat, it's a much better running condition. Yes.
Okay.
I run topless on my treadmill all the time. It's great.
I haven't worn a sports bra. I also opted to go flat, so I didn't get any reconstruction, mostly because I didn't want the additional surgeries. And I was never big anyway to begin with, so it would even be weird for me to get implants. So, but I haven't worn a sports bra since, I think, surgery.
Yeah, isn't it the most freeing thing?
It's so freeing.
Yeah,
it's so nice.
It's a bet. I would say it's one of the silver linings of breast cancer,
especially when it's hot and sweaty out.
Totally.
I love this conversation because I don't think anybody else is having this conversation. I had a lumpectomy, so I'm a boobular girl to begin with. I had a golf ball size. I'm a little uneven on the, hiked up on the left, which is just fine. But nobody else is saying I had a double mastectomy and things are that's kind of good in some ways, especially if you're a runner.
Yeah. Well, am I allowed to talk about the first time?
We talk about everything.
Cool. So the first time I had several lumpectomies and then went through chemo and radiation and that whole deal. And then the second time it was a high grade DCIS everywhere. So, I was going to get implant. I got implants again, right? They took my boobs and I got implants and I was horribly allergic to them. So I had to go through this last diagnosis. I had 8 surgeries because of, for the first surgery, I was highly allergic to the isosulfan blue dye that they use to trace the lymph nodes, and I died on the table. And so they plastered my boob back on, saved my life, and I woke up in ICU with boobs. So that was a whole mind fuck. Am I allowed to say that one?
Apparently so. Yeah, I think so. So that show, I say yes.
That was that was unbelievable. And then I went in, had the mastectomy, had what do you call them? Where they inflate
expanders?
Expanders.
Expanders put in. That was okay, except one popped and went flat. Oh. And then eventually they swapped them out to the implants, which I was highly allergic to. And those, I was just like, get them out, get them out. So that's when I went flat. And if I had it to do over again, I would go straight to flat immediately. And people don't know, right? That's not, did you get pushed back, Angela, when you said, I don't want anything?
Not from my surgeon, but I am in a lot of flatty groups, I guess we call it, like on Facebook and support groups. And so I had kind of researched it before and saw that a lot of women, even when they request flat or no reconstruction, they sometimes wake up and the surgeon thinks that they know better and will change their mind. And they wake up with loose skin and extra skin. And then the surgeon tells the woman that, you're going to change your mind. So I just made it, so that you can have surgery later, even though she requested it. So I knew that going in when I had the conversation with my surgeon. And lucky for me, like she understood that like running is a very high priority for me. And I'm very active. And I mean, I guess maybe also because I wasn't that big to start with, she did tell me that, what to expect, because I guess there's different flat as well. Like there's different ways that they can do it. But she explained to me that because of the location of where my tumor was, that was close to the sternum, I would just have one long scar all the way across. But also because of my anatomy and my sternum is kind of sunken, that's just something that's genetic with some people. I'm actually not even flat. I'm like concave. So that's a thing. Yeah.
I'm there too.
Oh, okay. It's nice to know I'm not alone.
Yeah.
It's so fascinating. Fascinating. And I think we jumped the gun a little bit. Victoria, what was your specific diagnosis and how did you find your breast cancer? How did you figure it out?
I didn't find it. It was found on mammogram.
Okay.
And I was actually delayed because of COVID. Previous to that, I'd had a lump on my right side that was benign. They were watching it. So every 6 months I was going in for 2 years. And then I was late because of COVID. And when I finally got in, it was supposed to be my go back to 1 year mammogram. And so I was all excited. And then they called me back and I'm like, I've been through this again. And it was always the right side. And then she's like, so, why you're back? And I was like, yeah, it's probably just that right side that it's nothing. And she's like, oh no, it's your left side. They found something on your left. And I'm like, what? I was really surprised. And then, they, it's the same facility. So they were acting totally different this time around. And they took so many more images and he just kept taking more and more. And then they took me in for an ultrasound. And then the doctor who I had before, who was very reassuring, was not the same this time. I could definitely tell from them. And then, I work in the medical field too. I can read people. Yeah. So I knew something was wrong. So then he set me up for a biopsy. And then that came back as DCIS. So, and then I saw the surgeon, and then he's like, oh yeah, just simple lumpectomy. And then that's it. And then he goes, but I like to do an MRI first, just to make sure of both breasts that we're not going in with any surprises. And when I got that result back, it showed invasive ductal carcinoma, and it did not show up in mammogram. And then I had calcifications, and I also had biopsies based on the MRI. So I had cancer in all 4 quadrants of my left breast when only one small piece showed up on mammogram. Wow. So he said, we have to do a mastectomy. So I opted for a double. So I couldn't see myself being uneven. Yeah. And so I decided to do both, especially since I'd already had a lump in the other side. So I didn't want to take any chance of it coming back. So I opted for the double. And then with reconstruction, I'm going through reconstruction. I just had my 3rd surgery since November last month. And I have a 4th already just scheduled for February. So I had expanders put in. And then in November was my double with expanders. And then in February, I lost one of them to infection. I started chemo in January. And I never really healed on one side. So when chemo flared that up, so then that had to come out. So then I was flat on one side. And then, I give kudos to you ladies who decide to do that and you're comfortable with it, but it wasn't for me. Yeah. I'm coming from, I was a D size, and then I'm used to having breasts there. So, but I'm going smaller. Being a runner, I am going smaller. And so I just got that expander put back in September, and I just got my fills. I'm even on both sides, and I feel like a whole person again. So, and then I get my exchange surgery in February. I got that appointment today, so I'm so excited now.
And are you done with chemo?
Well, I finished. I was on TCH until end of May.
And for those who don't know the lingo, that's Taxotere, carboplatin, Herceptin.
Herceptin. And I am still on Herceptin until the middle of January. I have 4 more infusions left out of 17. I feel like I'm finally getting to the end.
And how are you doing on Herceptin?
Great. I don't even notice anything. So I go on Wednesdays every 21 days, and Wednesdays run group, or I run with my friends. And so I go run after Herceptin, and
amazing.
I have full, my oncologist is a runner, so he gets me. And every visit we talk about running, and then he's going to run a marathon with me. We've been talking about that since day one. So every visit, that's what we discuss, what one we're going to do.
How special.
That's awesome.
So so it's pretty exciting that he understands my lifestyle. And, and I'm on some support groups too on Facebook, and they're like, oh my gosh, you can't believe you're running on a day you get Herceptin. You have to be careful with your heart. And I'm like, I don't do anything without my oncologist okaying it. And I get my echoes every 3 months, and I'm still at baseline from beginning. So I'm fine.
Well, one would actually think that running would be very good for your heart. I guess I actually am an expert, but yeah. Running's great for your heart. So
the lady who does my echo, I always request the same person. She's a breast cancer survivor too. So we always have lots to talk about, and she understands what I'm going through. And she says that my heart is healthy because I'm running.
That's right.
While I'm going through this.
That's right. It's interesting what people get worried about when our healthy habits are really not the thing to be worried about. So I want to point out before we move on that Megan Trevor,
is my baby girl.
I love you, Mom. So
she's turned into my mom now because she takes such good care of me, and I love her.
That's wonderful.
She's great.
Megan sounds like a sweetheart. I hope to meet her at a race one day too. All right. And then Angela, tell us about how you found out you had breast cancer.
So I was officially diagnosed in January of this year, 2021. But I can't even remember how many years back, I had gone in for, I had baseline mammograms, and then I had noticed some changes when I was in my earlier 40s or mid 40s. And I could feel an area was like lumpier or denser. And so I had another mammogram and an ultrasound at that time, and they didn't find anything, and I didn't have a biopsy or anything. They just said, you just have lumpy breasts, that's a thing, and you have dense breasts as well. So you do need to kind of watch that area because you're at higher risk for breast cancer. And so I just kind of I did some self-checks, probably not every month, but just like enough to know what was normal for me. And I just kept noticing that one area, but they had said it was fine. And then I did skip a couple mammograms. And then I noticed some changes in, I think it was right about the time of lockdown last year in 2020. And it just seemed like the area that was lumpy was getting denser. Like it felt like it was getting harder. And I kept thinking, am I just imagining this? And I just kept being in denial about it. And then because of lockdown, I couldn't go in anyway. So I thought, I don't want to go anywhere near a medical facility, that's for sure. Okay. And so I said, I'll just wait it out. I'm sure it's fine because, I've had lumps before and they were nothing. And plus I was training for all these, races and PRs. Not races in 2020, but like I was doing virtual races and still trying to, make my own fun and PR and finding occasional small races to do. And I was just at the top of my game. And in my mind, like, there's no way I could have been that fit and have cancer. So I'm sure it's fine. Mm-hmm. And I just kept putting it off, thinking, I'm probably better off not going into a hospital to get tested because I could come back with COVID or something, or something worse.
Isn't that crazy that people are more afraid of a virus than cancer?
Well, I definitely was in 2020 because, there were no vaccines or anything, and we just didn't know. Like, we just didn't know a lot. But I was just in denial.
I'm going to interject for a minute because last March I started beating the drum that it was insane to put a stop to all early detection exams, colonoscopies and mammograms, and it's interesting that they scared you so badly that you almost put yourself in a position to die of cancer. And so many people are actually dying because of those insane lockdown laws that, prevented people from being diagnosed as stage 1 or 2 and then found out as stage 4 when it was just too late.
And that's the thing. Like, I think had I gone in last year when I started noticing some changes, I'm sure that it would have been diagnosed earlier, because by the time I finally, I just always had an excuse not to go in, though. It wasn't like, even when I could go in, I kept telling myself, I'm just going to wait until after this and then I'll go in. I swear I'll make the appointment then.
So when did you go in?
So I finally went in. It was kind of like after Christmas, because part of me was like, well, if it is bad, I don't want to like find out and ruin the holidays for the family or something. So now I'm going to wait until after Christmas, but for sure I will after that. And so, yeah, I made the appointment the day after Christmas, I think. And then I went in on like New Year's Day and had like all the tests and everything. And they did do a biopsy. And then I found out, they said it would take 7 days, but they called me like 3 days later. And it was already stage 3B at that time.
So if you could go back and have them undo those laws and let you in and have your mammogram, would you have wanted to do that back last March or whatever?
I want to say yes. Part of me was still in denial, so I don't know for sure that I would have. I might have come up with more excuses, but I think most likely I would have gone in much earlier.
Interesting. And I want to remind everyone who's watching live, if you have any questions, any comments, use your comment section and we will see them and share them for sure. So I brought you guys on because I want to talk about fitness. And clearly if it was a priority for you before diagnosis and then during your treatment. So Janie, let's go back to you. You know, when you got diagnosed the first or second time, you know, how did your fitness work and what did you do to stay active during treatment?
So the first time I mentioned I had run a marathon 6 months prior. All during chemo, all during radiation, I walked a ton. I didn't run, but I walked dozens and dozens of miles all the time. And then this last time I was hugely into, running marathons. So as soon up to every operation, my training was as usual. And then I would, step it back to recover. And then, as I said before, 38 days after my double mastectomy, I ran the Boston Virtual. Not to say it was far from easy. But I think it helps your mental state by keeping up with the things that you did before, right?
100%.
I mean, it's not only healthier, but for your body, but mentally, it's what pulled me out of the sadness and the massive, trauma from being diagnosed the first time and the second time is exercise and running.
Yeah, it's such a stressful experience. I mean, I was very scared at first and the doctor took away my real fear was death and dying and not seeing my kids grow up. But once he convinced me, hey, we're going to keep you around, it's still the stress was overwhelming. And so having that outlet, especially even before I started treatment, I probably exercised twice as much every day before I started my first dose of chemo, just because I was like, I gotta get it out. Just was sanity. Mm-hmm. And then what about you, Victoria?
Well, I had just completed my first 50K a month before I was diagnosed. So I was like, I can't have cancer. I have races to do and I'm healthy. I don't know, that's the thing is people think you're not a healthy person if you're going to get cancer. Right. And I was as healthy as I've ever been in my life at that point. And then, and after my 50K, my best friend and I were like, hey, let's do a 50 miler. Cause we were, I was on my 50K high at that moment. So yeah, let's do more. And then I found out I have cancer and I can't. And then the hard part was, I'm like, you still do it. And then sign up for her was when I was in the hospital getting my double mastectomy. So that was really hard for me. But I kept running. I mean, as soon as I was cleared through my doctor, I was able to run again and I did as much as I could. I gave my coach time off. It's like, don't try to figure out a schedule for me. I'll just do what I can. And then, and I was keeping up with a good 10 miles all the time. And then
now this is during your chemo.
During chemo.
You're still able to do 10-mile walks.
Yeah, I did runs. And then my husband and I are mainly trail runners. Well, I'm mainly trail runner. He follows me along. He likes the road better. But then there was a race that was local that was going to be virtual, but they were going to do meetup groups. And I was friends with the race director. So I wanted to sign up for her. So I told my husband, just sign me up for the 5K, 10K, whatever. Well, he did the half marathon on accident. And it was 2 days after my fourth chemo. So I was like, crap. But no, I powered through. I did it. I felt great. And then, so I did a half marathon every month of my chemo after that. Wow. And still continue to do that.
Right? Yeah, bravo.
Yeah, it made me feel better. I felt my symptoms. I barely had any down days. I had GI issues that Imodium helped with. Otherwise, I never once threw up. I never was nausea. I still have all of my medications still that I never used them. And my doctor said, if you are sick, I'm not doing my job.
Yeah. So you're getting the comment from Victoria.
Oh,
Victoria. Or from Brooke, sorry, says Victoria's my superhero. So
that's my daughter's best friend, my second daughter.
Super sweet, super sweet. And I got to tell you, and you guys came after me, but I'm the fitness expert who does all this stuff. I was so sick. I had 3 solid months of no exercise. I mean, I tried the first round. I think the second round, I was able to do a little bit of walking. I don't think there was any running in there, but I was so sick. I was able to stretch. That was it. I stretched. And so watching you guys run through the same exact chemo, I just thought, well, shoot, either I am the wimpiest person on planet Earth or you guys are the most jacked up, freaky superheroes ever because we had the same drugs. I think you didn't have Perjeta.
I didn't have chemo. No, I didn't have the P.
But Angela, you had Perjeta?
Yeah, that actually, I think now that I know what causes what, probably caused me the most issues because I had such bad GI issues that I did run, but a lot of it was on the treadmill because I would often have to like run off of it to the bathroom. Like
Angela and I had a lot of conversations about GI issues. Texting back and forth.
Or if I ran outside, it was just like little out and backs because I could never be far from a bathroom.
That's amazing. So I just couldn't run. I was I was sick. I was dizzy. I was dehydrated. I did IV fluids every day. You were running and I was sitting in a chair getting fluids. The only running I did was through airports to restrooms because of those GI issues. But I mean, you literally are made of steel. I don't understand it. So Angela, you get diagnosed, you start your first chemo and you're like, I'm going to keep running.
I mean, the TCHP chemo is cumulative and I knew that up front. So I kind of thought, well, I've got a little bit of a window here. And I did also do like a virtual half after the second treatment. But I've looked at the graph of my red blood cells and hemoglobin, and they just kept dropping and dropping with each session, which is normal, I think. But I was starting to feel it and, like the dizziness and shortness of breath as well. So I did a lot of walking when I couldn't run. And there were days that were better, like when they give you the steroids for 3 days around, then I would feel great. So I would try to run when I could. And then I would take some downtime and just walk every day. And then I would start to feel better when it was a week until the next session. And I could, slowly get out there again.
So you were just doing something when you could. Whatever you could do, you did do.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a lot of cancer patients who think exercise is off the table because they just shouldn't. But all the research shows that cancer patients do better in every category when they can exercise, both mentally and physically. And people who exercise more often are less likely to have recurrence. Janie, it's not a rule, but less likely still. So one of the things I want to talk about and Janie was saying she liked bald, but most of us don't like bald so much, but exercising bald certainly did have some privileges. And I learned that when I started jumping back in the pool. And I thought, well, I don't need a swim cap. It was like having a plastic bowl. I just was like a guy. I got to dry my head with a towel and go on. So what was exercising bald like for you guys? Janie, you first.
I told the girl, Victoria and Angela, that I stayed bald for 2 years. I shaved my head. I mean, maybe, what is it? A 1 or just, the buzz cut. I loved it so much. It was so easy and so, oh my gosh, it was just quick and fabulous. But then my mom cried and begged me to grow my hair out. So I did. Yeah. But, going back to the chemo, I had AC. So adriamycin, Cytoxin. I was down for probably 72 hours. There was no running. There was no nothing other than taking Ativan and sleeping for 3 days because I did not want to be awake for any of it.
But then you could run after that.
Yeah. Well, no, during chemo, I did tons of walking, but I wasn't running.
That's awesome. Walking. The moral of the story is we do what we can.
Right.
When you can. It's about just doing whatever. If you can't run, okay, we'll walk. And if you can't walk, get in the pool. And that was actually some of my greatest exercise once I got done with the mean chemo. And again, I hadn't been exercising at all. I was just too sick all the time. But my first foray back was in my neighborhood pool. I just got in and I didn't even plan to exercise. I just kind of wiggled around in the pool and it felt so good. And then the next day I went back and I kind of walked in the shallow end. It was all baby steps. And I previously was kind of a badass athlete. And then I was like the girl wiggling in the bald girl wiggling in the pool. But, you got to start somewhere, right? So strength training. Oh, wait, you guys, Angela and Victoria, tell me about your favorite parts of exercising bald.
Bald. Let's see. When I was on the treadmill, it wasn't so bad really, because it's just, you lose a lot of heat or whatever through your head. But actually going outside and exercising bald, I didn't do a lot of that at first. Victoria, watching her post pictures of doing it bald gave me more courage, because I was so self-conscious about being bald that I would wear those gaiters, the neck gaiters, but on my head. And I just never was really comfortable exercising bald until later on, I think. And when I would see other people doing it, it would kind of give me more courage.
Oh, interesting. And what about you, Victoria?
Yeah, I was scared to death to go out bald. And Fitz, that I talked to you about that. How do I even do this? And then it was so hot on one of my trail runs. And I'm like, screw it. I'm taking my hat off. And I felt good. And I was with my husband. I was with my coach and my best friend. We all did a trail run together. And they're so supportive. So it was no big deal. And then the first person I was passing, I was like, oh, crap. They didn't care. Nobody cared. And then after that, it got better. When I'm on a trails, it's no big deal. The first time I ran around in town, everybody stared. I was so self-conscious. And then the hotter the summer got, the less I cared about what they thought. So it got easier as it went.
I love that.
Fitz is missing.
Yeah, she is.
I have a great story about being bald. So after my first, going into my second, I was already bald. And the Miss America came to the cancer center where I was having chemo. And so the oncology director, whatever, got maybe 10 of us together to, sit and talk to Miss America, right? She was coming because it was part of her platform. And so we were in there and I was in the front row, and, she said the first thing that people ask her is to see her crown. And so as she opens this box with the crown in it, I'm thinking, oh my God, at 40 years old, this is the closest I'm ever going to get to that crown. And I've wanted it since I was 2. And so I thought, okay, I'm going to ask her if I could put it on my bald head, right? There's cameras, there's news people. And I'm thinking, this is the only time she will never be able to say no, right? How are you going to say no to a bald cancer patient? So she comes around with her box, right? And I'm like, excuse me, can I wear that crown? And she's all, okay. And she put that heavy, big Miss America crown right on my bald head. And from there on out, I was happy to be bald. So it was in all the papers. It was very awesome.
I love it. So when I was announcing the Wonder Woman races, I just basically went bald. I never wore a wig or whatever, but the saddest was the Wonder Woman races, because I would normally wear a crown with my outfit, and the crown hurt. It had the little spiky things that are supposed to stick in your hair. So I couldn't wear my Wonder Woman crown for many raises. It was very sad. And then finally, when I got a little stubble back in, I put it on. It looks kind of dorky, but I didn't care. Whatever. It was a little bit of a victory lap just to wear that stupid crown. What is it with crowns?
We love them.
I love our crowns. And then it's interesting to me that Angela and Victoria, that you guys were really embarrassed and concerned about your heads. And I know women wear wigs to feel more beautiful, but when you finally started showing off your head on social media and so forth, you just look so great.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's just hard because, I mean, your hair, I don't care what people, I heard it all the time. Oh, it's just hair, no big deal. It is a big deal. It's my identity. Every time I looked in the mirror when my hair was gone was like, oh my gosh, who is that? I startled myself every time I walked in the bathroom, and you just don't get used to that look. I still never did. And I still am not used to my hair's growing back, and I'm super excited about it, but it's still not me. It's not who I'm used to seeing.
Isn't it kind of like being trapped in somebody else's face? Like it's like wearing a Halloween costume that you just want to take off, right?
Yes.
I think actually maybe just as bad as losing your hair is when you lose your eyebrows and eyelashes too. Like I just remember coming out of the shower a few times and looking in the mirror, and it just looked like an alien. It was so weird.
Now, did you guys figure out any good makeup tricks to manage the eyebrows and eyelashes?
Thanks to you. Yeah, the brow stamp. I'm on day 2 of it. I'm still trying to figure it out, but it works good. But yeah, even with my hair growing, I still don't really have, I have a few eyebrows, but I still look like a cancer patient, you know?
Yeah.
And when I at least have my makeup on, I look normal to me, for myself.
So I just shared with anyone who's watching the brow stamp. So as we all lose the hair, it comes off everywhere. But my eyebrow hair did not grow back. I mean, maybe it's 25% left, and it's so blonde. And having to try to draw it on every day is infuriating. But there's a thing called a brow stamp, and basically you just put the stencil on. I'm doing it right now. The stencil, and then it's a stamp, and you just go boop, 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 and all of a sudden you have eyebrows. Magical. It takes 30 seconds. So the brand I like is Mad Love, LUVV. It's on the comment section. I do not work for them. I am just forever grateful that they've created this product that has saved me time, energy, and frustration. What about you, Angela? Any beauty tips?
I experimented a lot with those magnetic eyelashes, you know, where you draw like with the magnetic liner, and then you just stick the thing on. It was a little bit weird for me because I didn't wear a lot of makeup anyway, like when I run or anything like that. So to go from, you know, no eyelashes to suddenly like, you know, just glamorous. I liked how it looked, but I had to get used to it. And I usually only did it for special occasions, like if I was going out to lunch or something, or sometimes for like chemo sessions, just for an excuse to dress up.
Well, that's super fun. That's super fun to have lashes go a long way, I think. I'm addicted. And what about you, Janie? What are your bald beauty tips?
I didn't have any.
You don't have any? I feel surprised by that. So let's go back to boobs. So do we wear falsies?
No.
Never. Okay.
I bought a whole bunch of things to try, like anticipating that I would want to. So before surgery, I got like the actual prosthetic ones, and then the ones knitted knockers, I think they were called.
Knitted knockers.
Yeah, so I got some of those, and I got the busted tank, I think the foam kind that they make. So I got all different kinds, and I tried them, I think once for like a dress that just wouldn't look right unless it was filled in. But other than that, I don't wear anything. I don't wear a normal bra, a sports bra, or anything now. It's just, I think because I put my story out there publicly that I've had a double mastectomy and that I'm flat, and I'm trying to actually help normalize being flat. Like I would kind of feel, I don't know, it just would feel fake to me to then have, just wear something on top, and it would just be foreign at this point because I've gotten so used to not wearing anything.
So you don't have to wear any bra at all. Do you miss the bras, or is it just happiness?
I love not having to wear anything.
I think it's happiness, just not having a tight bra on, right? Or fighting a sports bra that's sweaty. That's happiness. But I have a very hard time looking in the mirror naked.
Okay.
Very, very. I didn't for many, many, many months. And still now it's still just like a glance. It's just like a quick glance. But I wouldn't wear fake boobs. It was like when I was bald wearing a wig. I felt like I was, dressing up for Halloween. Like this is what it is. And I'm okay with it. I'll get okay with looking in the mirror, but I'm happy to be here, and I will get that PR.
That's right.
I had to lose my boobs. I'm running a 3:30 marathon. That's all there is to it. Uh-oh, she's frozen. We're probably friends on the Flat and Fabulous group.
Yeah, I'm in that one too.
Yeah. That's so funny. Yeah, I was actually thinking of taking my shirt off for the last half a mile of the Boston Marathon. Just to be like,
okay, that's really bold.
Yeah. So I didn't do it this time, but April, I'm running again. So I'm not going to say never.
Yeah.
Incredible. Can you hear me now?
Barely.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a delay.
Okay, you guys come on, I like your conversation.
I was going to ask you, Janie, did you find, like, after you stopped the chemo, like, did running get back to normal for you? Because I'm still in, like, a second line of chemo right now, and I was hoping that it would come back for me, like, in terms of my paces and things like that, but I'm not really there. I'm, like, much slower than I used to be.
Okay, this is here, full disclosure here. After chemo, I signed up for a series of colonics because I had heard that it really flushes the toxins. And I don't know if you guys have to do radiation. I had to do like, I don't know, 8 weeks or 9 weeks of radiation every day. So chemo, then radiation. And then I did, this series of colonics, which really flushed everything out. And I felt a million times better after that. And then slowly got back, and I run much faster now, 20 years later, than I did at 39. So there's that.
That makes me happy. There's hope.
Absolutely.
All right. Can you guys hear me now? Am I here?
Yes.
Oh, good.
Sorry.
And that's okay. No, it's my Wi-Fi jerk. So I had a lot of physical therapy after my lumpectomy. So I only had a lumpectomy in the lymph nodes, yet it required lots of effort to be able to sleep on that side, to get my shoulder to not be hunched forward, to have mobility back, to be able to get my sports bra off of my head. So what kind of restrictions have you had from your mastectomies, and what have you done to compensate for that? Get your body better?
I've had none.
None.
I immediately started, doing little tiny weights. I purposely, day one, I was not having frozen arm or lymphedema or anything else. So I've never had a problem.
That's great. Angela?
I was kind of surprised, but from the surgery, my surgeon did tell me Like, I want you moving and reaching, like, for things, a mug on the top shelf, like, immediately if you can. Like, no, don't push it too hard or anything, but just keep moving. And I did, and I think that did help me a lot. I didn't go to PT yet, although I guess I could probably use some, because I can feel like some tightness. I had, double mastectomy, but the side that had the cancer on its and I think after radiation, like everything gets tighter too. So
Yeah.
I can feel some tightness, and I could probably do with some physical therapy at some point just to get more mobility, but I can function at least.
Okay. And what about you, Victoria?
Well, I had a little waiting period after my double because I had expanders put in. So I had to wait for that to heal. And then I had a little cording issue on one of my arms on my cancer side. So as soon as that was cleared up, I was good to go. I was doing bands and light weights. And then I followed somebody on YouTube that was good with exercises after a mastectomy, because I knew I couldn't go gung-ho on weights, so I didn't know how to start slow. So I picked up some videos, and it helped me a lot.
That's wonderful. Is anybody dealing with lymphedema?
Mm-mm. I didn't have any. I only had 2 lymph nodes removed, and they were clear.
Same for me.
And Janie?
The first time I had a big scoop, like 17. But no, never any lymphedema.
Yeah, I had 11 taken, but they assured me, they said, listen, you have some lymph nodes left, but you're so fit that you're very unlikely to have it. The only thing I do to prevent it is the sleeve while I fly on a plane. Do you wear sleeves on a plane, Janie?
Never. Wow. It's funny. When I was first diagnosed, before treatment, before surgery, before anything, they sent me to a lymphedema class. And that was scarier than the cancer diagnosis, because they were saying that these are the kind of blazers that you're going to have to wear to cover your sleeve for the rest of your life. And I was like, hell no. No. Yeah.
Blazers. Can you imagine me in a blazer? Oh my gosh. Not so much. I'm going to show you guys something because I think it's so funny. So this is the box of the sleeve I have. And it kills me because look at the lady. There's nothing about this woman I want to be like. She's got the mom jeans and the shirt that buttons down and the dorky sunglasses thing. But then she's got the nude color arm thing. And the little shoes. I don't want to be anything like her. So I get a black sleeve. And of course, it doesn't make me some sort of biker chick or whatever. But I don't know, just the whole nude sleeve. Nude doesn't look like your skin. Does nude look like anybody's skin?
No, but I think that one of the tragedies, not just the tragedy of cancer, but the tragedies is that, younger women are getting this, right? So I was 39. I was diagnosed with some other people that were, early 30s and one in her late 20s. And so all the mom jeans and mom wigs and the nightmarish makeup that, they sent you to class to go learn about it just makes the trauma worse. Yeah. Right. Like they need young groups and, people like us to share with them. This is not the end of the line. You can be better. You can come back better and stronger and run faster and be beautiful and be sexy. But it's not out there. I mean, do you guys agree? Or
that's why we're doing this, Janie. Mm-hmm. That's why this conversation exists. It's just, I refuse to fall into this weird land of broken people that have, lesser ambitions because they once had this disease. And, thankfully it's in the past, right? Why would we not only go back to where we were, but do better?
Well, I can tell you guys from experience that my life's right since diagnosis, of course, there's been little peaks and valleys, but it has been like this. And it makes you, what's scarier than cancer? It's like, oh, I'm going to be scared to run a marathon? I don't think so. Oh, I'm going to be scared to take this new job? I don't think so. Right? Like you're brave and you are empowered and nothing scares you.
You appreciate more now.
No.
Yeah, that's why I agreed to run Boston. I was like, well, what's so scary about Boston? What's a big deal about a marathon?
Totally.
Nothing.
It's what, 4 or 5 hours of, uncomfortableness, if that. But
5+ hours.
Oh,
I know, it's so slow. Hey, this is the beauty of Boston, is that I'm a pretty fit girl, right? People will look at Fitz Kohler and go, she's fit. Boston, I'm the bottom 8% of fitness.
no,
And actually, as a fitness professional, I love it. I wish the whole world were like that. They took such good care of themselves, that they were all so much more athletic and fast than me. I want to live in a world where I'm the bottom 8% of what's possible. So yeah, so slow, Janie. But I assure you.
My treadmill marathon was 5:04.
All right. I'm still way slower than you. But I think I had the best fun on the course. Vince and I.
Such a great race.
It was appalling how much fun we had. So, but it was also really hard, really, really hard. So, Victoria, when it comes to fitness and cancer, what has been your philosophy and what's your advice for somebody else who's being diagnosed today?
Live your life as normal as possible. I just go in for treatment every 21 days. Otherwise, my life is as normal as I can be. I just continue on with what I was doing before.
Love it. Love it. Angela?
I would say it might look a little bit different while you're going through treatment, but be kind to yourself and just do whatever you can each day and just show up for yourself that way.
Love it. Janie?
Hold on tight and you'll get through it.
Yeah, it's one hell of a ride, right?
Yeah. I think it changes you forever. You'll never be the same. You'll have that, inner core, but it changes you for the better.
Hopefully.
For the absolute better.
Hopefully, as long as you don't have a victim mentality and you don't decide to be pity party forever, it can change you for the better, right? The silver lining exists.
Absolutely. And there's always silver linings. Always.
Okay. So I'm going to ask what my favorite questions are on my show, because I like to learn more about you than just cancer. So starting with you, Victoria, who was your first Hollywood crush?
So Dirty Dancing was popular when I was a kid. So let's go with Patrick Swayze.
Excellent choice.
Yeah.
Angela?
I think probably, do you remember Kirk Cameron on Growing Pains?
Oh, yeah.
Kirk Cameron, very, very cute. Janie?
Can I say that I've had chemo brains for 20 years and don't remember?
You don't remember your first Hollywood crush?
No, I don't remember.
Who's your Hollywood crush now?
Ugh.
There's got to be someone.
Be Hollywood? Ugh.
Got to be someone.
I don't have one.
I feel offended by that, but you think. What's your favorite movie? Let's go there.
Favorite movie.
These are the easy questions.
Can you ask me my favorite car?
What's your favorite car?
911 convertible Carrera.
Nice. Excellent choice. Mine's Jeep Wrangler. What's your favorite car, Angela?
My favorite car. I'm driving an Audi and I really like it. So.
Okay. Audi something or other. Victoria?
Well, I absolutely love my truck, but I want a Jeep.
So you should have it. That was actually my
I know.
reward for me.
I know. I hope my husband hears this right now. I should have a Jeep.
Brent, she needs a Wrangler. Yeah, I was like,
Yes.
quality of life sucks right now. When I'm done with this, I'm improving my quality of life, and it exists.
I think I've earned a Jeep.
Heck yeah, you have.
Yeah.
Stick shift.
I'll second it.
Here he's watching. Brent
Oh,
says,
there he is.
LOL, meaning I love you so much. I'm definitely going to get you one, honey. I promise. That's what LOL is short for. Angela, do you have a favorite race? What's the favorite race you've ever run?
Ooh, favorite race I've ever run. Actually, I loved Flying Pig. I've only done it once, but I did the one where you do like all 4 races in one weekend.
Wow.
But just the crowd support there is unreal. I hope it's still like that. Like, I think it's coming up this weekend.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah. I hear wonderful things about Flying Pig. Great theming too. What about you, Janie?
Probably the Paris Marathon.
How come?
Just the beauty of the city. I ran it with my sister. My mom was there. Friends were there. But it's just, I don't know. It's such a beautiful, beautiful course.
Fabulous. And Victoria?
North Country Trail race. It's a trail race. It's in northern Michigan. It's absolutely beautiful. It's tough. I'm a flatlander where I live, and it's got some big hills. So it's a good challenge. And race director puts on a very organized, great after party, lots of energy.
I love that. I think my favorite race now is Boston Marathon. Is that allowed? Can I add that? It used to be a little trail 10K here in Gainesville, but now I think it's Boston. All right. If you're stuck listening to one song for an entire marathon, you can't change it. You got to listen to one song, and you can't say, I don't listen to music. One song for the whole way. What song is it going to be? Victoria.
Oh, shoot. I want to go last.
Angela. Easy breezy host I am.
Oh my God. I'm cheating.
Let me look at my
I know.
playlist.
I was trying to think off my playlist. I was really into the song "The Champion." I'm trying to.
Yes, that's a great one.
Yeah.
The Champion.
Probably that one.
Carrie Underwood and
Keith Urban. Is that right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Let me see.
Oh, I have my answer now.
Okay, let's hear
It
it.
just came to me. So Eminem's 8 Mile has a good cadence.
Okay.
So when I'm tired, I will throw that on, and it gets my rhythm back.
Okay. 26 miles worth of Emma. And you. You're not.
Angela, is it you?
What about me?
What's your favorite?
Oh, well, I said The Champion, but now I'm looking at
Oh,
my own
that's right.
playlist. And
Okay, good. Choose another one and I'll take the Champion.
okay, you take Champion. I think, I really liked the song, Wipeout. I put that on my playlist, my marathon playlist, like multiple times, because every time it would come on, like it would just kind of get me going again.
Oh, that's so
I
funny.
don't know if I could listen to it forever. Like,
Yeah, one song for a marathon, that'd be brutal. I didn't listen to any music this Boston Marathon. I was so stoked just listening to the people in the crowds. No music for any part of it.
Can you hear me now? Am I exist again?
Yeah, but your lips aren't matching your words.
Everyone wants to.
She must be so mad.
Really mad. Can we hear you now?
Barely.
Okay. So I'm going to have you guys end the show. Tell everybody goodbye. Are you back? It's terrible.
Okay, we can hear you. We can hear you for a minute.
Okay, tell everybody goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Nice to meet you guys.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you,
us
guys.
on.
Thank you, Fitz.
It was a great conversation. Love you all.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.